Here are your hosts, RJ Young and Brandon Drum.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am back with Brandon Drum. This is the Young and Drum podcast, OUinsider.com. B-Man, big week. We record this on a Thursday night. On Sunday, the University of Oklahoma had the very bright idea to have a nooner press conference on a Sunday, same day as the NFC and AFC championship game, for which I will not stop banging on them for. But
oh my God, yeah.
You were there.
Mm-hmm.
You heard him speak.
Yeah, for 2.5 hours.
Tell me about Alex Grinch's coach speak. Now, look, I like Alex Grinch.
I don't think it was coach speak. I loved it.
Okay, then go for it. Let me know.
Here it is, man. Like, the guy doesn't put up with BS. I'm going to clean it up. He doesn't put up with BS. There is no excuses with this dude. Like, you're going to walk out there and you're going to give it your all, 110%. And they kept harping, like, they would give up, like, a random number of plays. Like, we want to see a dude go on play 25 just as hard as he needs to keep going. The same energy in play 97 as he does on play 25. That's what we want. And they're going to know that that's hard to do all the time. And there's going to be guys that are going to fail out and quit on us. But, I mean, they were open about it. I was like, goodness gracious. Like, this is not what we have heard from the Fidos and the man, it's just because we're in the Big 12 offense. The offenses are so hard. These dudes are out here going, we're going to be the number one defense in the country, and why can't we be that? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you were ranked 120th last year. But they're coming in guns blazing, confident, and you can tell the youth movement is there. You can tell Alex Grinch is only 39. You can tell that Brian Odom is 37. You can tell that Roy Manning is only 35. Like, you can tell all of this, and it is present and evident in how they talk. They're no nonsense. The energy that they bring, just everything. And Brian Odom, man, he doesn't seem like a dude that would have energy, but the way he talks, you can tell when that whistle goes up over around his neck and that visor hits on. It's like a football player with a helmet. It's like he clicks. He's like a whole human being, and you can tell that in the way he talks. Like, he wants to bring the energy 24/7. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Like, this guy is all about it. And that's why he was a good strength and conditioning guy. And that's what makes him a good coach, because he knows the buttons to push, because that's what you have to do as an S&C guy. And then obviously Roy Manning saying I asked him if he was going to bring the videos back. He goes, I'm at Oklahoma. I'm bringing the videos back. They're coming back for good. And I think he said the fans are going to love it. He wants to do it for the fans. He wants to do it for the recruits. He wants to do it for the university, because it's something he feels that if he can bring the energy all the time, the fans will bring the energy and the players will bring the energy. And that's what they want. I think that's awesome. I loved it. I love the talk about the ball doesn't know where it's supposed to be going. Like, it has a brain talk.
Trick of rhetoric, dude. Trick of rhetoric.
It was awesome. I loved it.
Look, I'm gonna do this both ways, because I get that I'm gonna sound like a Debbie Downer here, but I also watched the defense for the last 5 years, like everybody else. So pardon me while I walk through this.
No, I'm not saying that they're gonna go out there and shock the world.
I'm not saying that you're saying that either. That's not what I'm saying.
I just think that it's awesome that they're gonna they're changing.
You don't have anything to lose, bro. You don't have anything to lose by having that attitude. That is the attitude you should absolutely have, because you're on the floor. You're on the bottom of defense in college football.
That's true.
You don't have any wiggle room, and all you have to do is come out with your fist swinging, because if you come out with anything less, we're not going to trust you. I would not trust a word that man said if he did not feel this way. If they didn't feel like they could get their stuff installed in the winter, in the spring, in the summer, and preseason, and be ready to be a hell-raising defense, then what are you doing here? Now, there's two ways to look at this, right? There's the way that I look at it, which is proof's in the pudding, because I watched too many bad defenses over the last 5-7 years at Oklahoma.
Fair. That's a fair way to look at it.
Right? To just be all in January. And I like the hire. I was bullish on the hire. I'm upfront in saying I think this guy knows from defense, and that's where the other aspect of this comes from. We could be looking at Lincoln Riley hiring the defensive equivalent of himself in 2015.
Absolutely.
right? It
Yep.
could be that great because you look at the talent that he had at Washington State, and it was next to nothing. 2-star and 3-star recruits, dudes that most folks did not go out and want to get. And then they turned that defense into world beaters. Now he's got more talent, right? And he's got talent that needs an attitude adjustment. And you're thinking, not you, but folks are thinking that the attitude adjustment is that these kids need a squiff kick in the behind, and that's not it. What they need is confidence. What they need is Roy Manning building them up on the cornerback side. Because as much as people are going to hate this, your best 2 options at corner right now are Trey Brown and Parnell Motley.
I talked to a source about that today. Actually.
Well, no. Follow me.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Parnell Motley. That wasn't agreement. They honestly, that was exactly what was posed to me. They're like, like, what is this?
And, and your weakest position is going to be coached by the defensive coordinator personally, right? I mean, folks are missing that Pat Fields played a heck of an Orange Bowl game because everybody got their butt kicked. And Robert Barnes is going to have to come back from the morgue. And I love Robert Barnes.
He's not even doing spring.
But, that doesn't change anything for me. I want to know what he's doing during preseason camp, because that's it. Somebody else is going to blow out an Achilles. Somebody else is going to blow out an ACL. And then we're going to be back to this position that we were in the safeties last year, or like we
Don't
were.
You put that voodoo on
right,
me,
or like where we were with the linebackers year before, when it's like, hey, Kenneth Murray Jr., play out of position for the entire year as a true freshman. So it's going to happen, right? And I want to see how Alex Grinch adapts to that, because Lincoln had to do that stuff too. People want to make it sound like Lincoln didn't have to go through trials and tribulations as the offensive coordinator and play caller at Oklahoma. He lost Rodney Anderson to start 2018, man. That dude was a Heisman candidate walking out. All right? Yeah. He had to turn Baker around. Do you remember 2015, the Tennessee game, where it looked like he could have thrown Trevor Knight back in there? You remember this?
No, he did. But I will give it up to Lincoln that he said it never crossed his mind to even pull Baker out.
Okay, yeah, all right.
But that's hindsight's 2020. I don't know if I believe that, but I mean, he still says that, and I think that and that's something that Baker actually goes back when they asked him the moment that changed was when he said Riley didn't take him out and told him before that the drive that they started changing it and they scored that, hey, we're going to go out here and we're going to score now and you're going to lead us. And he said that was the time that it kind of changed his whole career.
Well, I mean, okay, so my point is
they need that on defense,
Alex Grinch is going to have that sort of a moment with his defense, whether it be on the defensive line and the linebacker core, the secondary. It's going to happen because it always happens. And I want to see how he adapts, because I want to believe in the fire and brimstone as much as anybody else, but at the end of the day, I know what the defense was last year. I know what the attitude was last year. And folks who want to know why Lincoln didn't just blow up the entire staff and didn't want to get rid of Calvin Thibodeau and Ruffin McNeil. By the way, for those that don't know, Bob Diaco is new defensive coordinator at Louisiana Tech, so we don't have to skip those questions anymore. Look, the thing to take away is, can Alex Grinch have the kids believe in each other and wanting them to play for him? Because that was the thing with Mike Stoops. I honestly believe that if you'd had Ruffin McNeil, if you didn't have Ruffin McNeil, you'd have lost the defense entirely last year.
I agree.
Because
100%.
That dude is able to soothe these kids and make them believe that they can play this game and want to play it well. Because attitude and leadership go hand in hand, and I know we're going to get into the Remember the Titans quote that I don't want to really get into right now, but I am going to say that having a boss who believes in you and will raise you up when you know you're playing badly is going to empower you down the road, and you're going to, guess what, win the Big 12 title despite it. Get in the college football playoff despite it. So Ruffin McNeil and Calvin Thibodeau are both good at motivating the kids. And you need a guy like that, not just for the kids, but does anybody ever think about what Ruffin means to the staff? Just having a guy to bounce ideas off of and to tell you that you're good when you might doubt yourself, especially after you get your butt handed to you. I think that's underrated. But I'm really interested to see how all of this meshes with Grinch, because the vibe you get is, I know what I'm doing. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to do it. But we're not really going to know until we start seeing some offers go out, and then we see the defense play.
Well, I can tell you 100%, and this is something I've echoed on the board, and I'm going to get more into it, just so I don't really want to go deep. But if they're not 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot cornerbacks, they're not going to get an offer from OU anymore. You're not going to see a lot of bookies running around. You're not going to see a lot of. I mean, Troy Brown's. There was the source told me there was a caveat to it. Speed trumps everything, and if you can play, and you can be physical, and you can be fast like a Troy Brown.
You just told me, one, either nothing's going to change, or two, that you don't want Twitch guys anymore. Because
no, you want Twitch guys.
No, because you're not gonna get 6'1", 6'3" Twitch guys. That ain't gonna work, man. I mean, Darion Green-Warren ain't just walking around. That dude is 6 feet tall. That ain't regular. What I'm saying is,
you got to go check and see who they've offered in the past. I mean, they're going after guys that are athletes, not necessarily that have played the cornerback position in high school. They could be a quarterback like a Jahari Rogers.
Because that worked real well with Stan Von Taylor.
I mean, but it worked with Andre Woolfolk. It worked with a bunch of other guys.
All right, so that's the other part that I want to get into in this podcast.
Derek Strait, it worked just fine.
By the way, for the folks who are listening, B and I aren't actually arguing with each other.
No,
we're discussing. So if I get hot, I'm not mad at B, and B's not mad at me. I just want to throw that out there.
I'm just going off of what, I know, I can tell you, Jahari Rogers is probably going to get an offer from Arlington High. He's not really a corner, per se, right now, but he's a great athlete that they can make a corner, and they can get him to go when he gets get him coached up when he gets here, because everything he does is natural and fluid. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at a Michael Crabtree type guys. I get what you're saying. I know that.
Okay.
But they're also not saying like getting 5'8" dudes is done. I can get 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. Yeah, that's okay. That's exactly what they're looking for. But they would love to have the 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2" guys.
In defense of the Bookies of the world, that kid earned his 5-star rating.
No.
He's short.
I'm just talking about the height. But he breaks the mold, is what I'm saying.
All right.
The source even said that if they're special, there are circumstances that you do that.
I also think that when you say a Michael Crabtree type, what position did Michael Crabtree play?
I think he was a wide receiver.
Okay, what position does Jaden Hazelwood play?
He was a quarterback.
What position does Jaden Hazelwood play?
Wide receiver.
Theo Weiss. You get where I'm going with this? What I'm saying is you're trying to convince a 17-year-old child to play at a disadvantage in one of the toughest positions in sports, not football, in sports. So that's going to be one heck of a salesman job, is what I'm saying is, hey, 6'2", 6'3" dude that normally would be going out for the Biletnikoff Award, I need you to play corner, and I need you to like it. So check this out. If you went up to Tylan Wallace,
Alabama, Georgia,
if you go to Tylan Wallace in Dallas, who OU could have gone and got, right?
Who?
Tylan Wallace. If you looked at, would you be able to tell Tylan Wallace to go play corner?
Tylan?
Yeah.
No.
But what's his size?
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Okay, all right, cool.
But Oklahoma was never going to get him because they were never going to offer his brother. But that's neither here nor there.
I'm just talking about from skill set, because we're looking at Tylan Wallace. You and I both believe that dude probably. You and I think I'm going to speak for myself, but I think you'd agree with me. He should have won the Biletnikoff Award last year.
Probably, yeah.
Does he win the Thorpe Award? Probably not, man.
No, I mean, but there are other programs are doing it that are on the level of Oklahoma, and that's kind of what they're going. Michigan, Ohio State, that's kind of what they're going. They're going after the guys that they're getting, and that they're trying to get a piece of the pie. I mean, they've got a Jalen Huff that's 6 foot, 6'1", 6'1". They have a Dorian Green-Beckham Dorian Green-Warren. I'm really going back in the day.
That's the other thing that I'm saying, though. That's the other thing that I'm saying is of the dudes that Oklahoma has recruited, right?
They got Cradell too. I mean, they've got.
Okay, that's a safety. No, that's a safety.
But he wants to play. He wants to play corner and safety. He wants to do both.
Well, I mean, Jaden wants to play both too.
But they're going to play. They're going to play. I guarantee you, Cradell will be a corner.
Well, I also think that Jaden Davis figures to play both, but also here's the other thing.
Yeah, but he's like 5'9", 5'10".
Depending on whether you run a 3-4 or a 3-3-5 modified, whatever it is you're going to do with a one-gap scheme, because 3-3-5, you can do that, but it's just a different kind of look with a band and a spur. My point here is, either way, those dudes have to be able to line up over the top of wide receivers and stop them from catching the ball.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And there is not a lot of glory in playing safety or corner. You have to love it and you have to want to do it. And the dudes that usually want to do it, their constitution is made up like mine. We are undersized, we are short, we are undervalued, and we are feisty as all hell. We have something to prove. Whereas the taller dudes with the longer bodies say, nah, I catch passes. I know who I am. I've been handed the wide receiver position everywhere I go. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the mentality that you're recruiting, it just changes entirely. And I don't know a lot of tall dudes that really want to scrap. And let me extrapolate this out. I'm a short dude who is down to fight. I grew up fighting, got pro fights. My hands were the best thing that I was able to use growing up because I was short. And I'm built that way. I don't know a lot of tall dudes that are down to throw hands. And I'm not saying that you got to be a boxer to be a great corner. I'm saying that the mentality is Justin Broyles. The mentality is I'm going to stop you from doing the thing you want to do, not just because it's my job, but because it is in my heart. And I don't know that
he fits the narrative that they're looking for, like 5'10", 5'11". You know what I mean? Like he fits that narrative. I'm talking like the shorter guys that they've gotten in there.
Well, who else other than Buki would you throw into that group?
I mean, Trey Brown.
Okay.
Who was the other short dude that they?
I mean, Norwood's like 5'11".
Dakota Austin. I mean, they've been
Dakota Austin fits. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been throwing out some short dudes.
You remember LJ Moore?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The hooker runner, the pimp. Yeah. I remember.
Oh my God!
I actually bumped into that girl one time.
You remember Tito Wyndham?
I do.
Oh my God!
He ended up being a superstar at Memphis.
At where?
I think he's in Memphis.
At where?
I think he's in the league. Memphis.
Okay, I'm just sorry. I'm just making you say it over and over again because it's not Oklahoma. I'm just like.
No, yeah. Everybody else is like benefiting from the recruiting classes, but Oklahoma. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I
mean, he was good. He was like a JUCO All-American, and then Memphis became an all first team All Conference. Now he's in the freaking league. I mean, he was a highly valued recruit, right? He was.
You wanted to get him, and we're lucky to get him. While we're on this subject, just tangent. Like Camille Jackson transfers to ULM and then falls off the face of the earth to me.
I thought he went to Camille. Did he not go to? Who was the one that went to Kansas?
Not Camille, because Camille ended up at
Camille.
He ended up at Blinn.
Yeah,
because he was gonna go to ULM, and then ULM was like, he ain't got no offer from us, and then he ends up at Blinn.
That guy, I think he had issues.
Because this was the same group that Jazz Reynolds, Trey Franks, Camille. There's one dude I'm missing in here.
Yeah, the kid that went to Kansas.
Oh man,
he ended up being like sort of a tight end there.
I can't even remember who that was, man. But
I can't remember his name anyway.
I remember that group. Like Bob was like, all of y'all gotta go. And I was like, and then Jazz got to come back. And I was
and Jazz actually became a really good player.
Jazz was really good. Like I contend that Jazz got to come back because his hands are enormous. Like people are always looking for a comp for.
My God.
People are looking for a comp for CD, and I keep telling them it's Jazz. Like if Jazz kept his head on straight.
Jazz is a better. Yeah, he's a better Jazz.
That's the dude.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just let him keep his head on straight.
Yeah, and then obviously the pencil pusher. Travis Wire.
Wow, man, I remember breaking that story, and I just I remember.
Can I borrow a pen?
Oh no, forget that. So, like, I break the story, and then walk in front of. You want to
see mine?
Stop that. Okay. I walk in front of Jay Norvell with the rest of the pool reporters or group, right? So we're in the red room, and I kid you not. Jay Norvell says, Trey's working some stuff out. He's just got to get his hands around it. And and then it's like, nah, man, you got to put that in the story. Do I really? And that went in the story. And then it's like, do you think Jay knew what he was doing when he said that? And I'm like, I don't think so.
Guaranteed.
I don't think so.
Jay,
I hope
he was
not,
pretty
man.
witty. I don't know, man.
And he had his hands out, and I'm like, come on, man.
He's got to put his hands around it.
That was the money quote from that entire deal, dude. Like, I was just, come on, y'all. I could have done without that. But that also
totally
speaks,
digressed.
Well, I mean, but that also speaks to a bunch of wide receivers that could have been great corners. So, like, do you remember DeJuan Miller?
I do, but he would never. That guy was built like
Trey Franks.
You know who? Well, Trey Franks did play corner.
A.D. Miller.
Well, those guys are like 6'4", man.
Put a 6'4" corner out there. Champ Bailey was like what, 6'6"?
Hey, you know what? I say they're like 6'4". Oh my God, like
Trey Franks is 5'10".
J.J. Hester could be a superstar safety, and that's
6'4".
some people are offering.
6'4".
Some people are offering him as a defensive back as well.
But that's what I'm saying, dog. Is you got to be able to convince a wide receiver,
a
dude who can play wide receiver anywhere else, that he needs to be playing safety. Come on, man.
Well, there is one kid that could do that, and probably will. And his name is Kendall Daniels, 2021 kid out in Beggs. If you haven't seen that kid's film, holy crap! He's 6'4", 210 pounds. Oh my God.
Well, I mean, but okay, so here's my
going to be probably a top 20 kid in the country. His film is unbelievable.
This needs to get us into this conversation then, because we run into this on both ends all the time, which is, why doesn't Oklahoma offer said kid from my Oklahoma town? Not to say that the kid from your Oklahoma town can't play. Absolutely can play.
Ethan Downs is up there.
But right now there are two 2020 prep
one is going to
kids.
get an offer tomorrow, I bet.
Well, but for the sake of this podcast, right, for public consumption,
okay,
there are two with OU offers. Andrew Rain at Broken Arrow, who everybody agrees is a man, and got offered at the same time Bray Walker got offered, for those that are keeping track. So everybody knew that dude was going to be it. And then J.J. Hester.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at a bunch of dudes all over the state who don't have OU offers, because if you offer that kid, you got to assume he's going to take it just as soon as you offer it.
Yeah.
And then you can't recruit Texas. You can't recruit California. You can't recruit Florida. So the Jaden Davises of the world, the Jamal Morrises of the world, the Jeremiah Craddells of the world, you can't extend that offer anymore.
Another 6-footer. Woody Washington.
Right. Woody Washington. Right.
Another 6-foot corner. There we go.
Right. So, like, that's, by the way, that's Kerry Cooks' kid. So,
all
of those 6-foot kids are Kerry Cooks' kids.
How crazy is that? And he definitely, that didn't fit his MO. How he recruited last year was definitely not how he's recruited in the previous year.
No, I think he was given a mandate. I think they've wanted to do this for the last couple
the taller
of years.
Guys,
yeah, and he's a very good recruiter. He's a capable recruiter. Now we're gonna get to see how good Roy Manning is, how good Alex Grinch is.
Talent's there.
Well, no, that's the thing, right? So, but I was bringing all that up to say, look, man, as much as we love Oklahoma and we're both of the state, right? I'm a Tulsa kid. I wanted to see a Dax Hill, a Josh Proctor, even a Deuce Mayberry, who we haven't got in, who fits the mold, by the way.
Yeah, well, he's
6'1",
180.
180. That dude can play out at Owasso. We want to see those dudes play at Oklahoma, but at the end of the day, you need to recruit the best that you can get into the class, because we're looking at Oklahoma perhaps finishing with a top 3 to top 5 class for the first time in over a decade. And that didn't come because every kid in Oklahoma got an offer. All right?
That's true.
So every time we bring up a kid that we really love, we still love him. Like you're talking about the kid from Beggs, you're saying watch his film, and you're talking about Ethan Downs, who also is going to be awesome, and we can continue to go down the list like Sevion Morrison
he'll get an offer,
at Edison,
guaranteed.
right?
Yeah.
There's a kid at Plainview that's really good.
And actually, I talked to some people. He has definitely caught. I know you're talking about. He definitely caught the eye of Oklahoma.
Well, then you'll be able to check that out on the board for those of you that subscribe, and for those of you that don't, we're just gonna leave that one out in the ether. But my point is, these kids, they're gonna get offers if they need an offer, right? Because Andrew Rain got one years ago because that kid needs an offer. But sometimes the kid from our area, he ain't that good, man. And that sucks to hear,
Yeah.
and it sucks to say.
Well, it's hard to. So when you say that, I kind of. It's hard to say that they aren't that good because then you go out and you say, man, look, LSU's offered them. How come Oklahoma hasn't? Well,
Right.
The problem with that is programs look for different things because it fits their
system and their scheme. Yes, and you have to recruit to that.
Oklahoma may not. This dude in Oklahoma that's getting offers from Michigan, Alabama, LSU may not fit what Oklahoma's looking for in their scheme, and that sucks, right? Because it looks really bad on Oklahoma, and they're really. I mean, they're taking a beating. I promise you.
And they're always going to take a beating.
They understand they're taking a beating. Yeah, they understand they're taking a beating over it, but they have to do what's best for the program. That they feel what they feel is best for the program, and it's not that they're overlooking these Oklahoma kids because I think I read what is there. I think it was like there's 60 Oklahoma kids annually that get Division I offers every year, and that's the crazy part is we only really hear about what 40, 45 of them. So there's usually these, but the other 15 that you don't hear about, they're getting like the Louisiana. They're down at Louisiana Tech. They're down at Army, Navy, or like at I'm trying to think of some obscure. They're down at University of Idaho. Just other smaller Division I schools, and that's great though because it still means that there's guys out of the state getting looks that, guess what? 5 years ago, they're not getting these looks. So to say that the state of Oklahoma doesn't produce is crazy because per capita, I think what are they like 7th or 8th?
Well, then that's also got a lot to do with Oklahoma being just south of 4 million people as opposed to like Texas, which is like 10 times the size. But
I'm just saying, like per capita, Oklahoma produces a bunch of Division I kids. That's because it's an obsession.
No, you make a good point. But Oklahoma also has more churches per capita than any other state. So what I'm saying is, I don't really follow per capita statistics in the way that most people do because I think they're misleading. But I think you are making a very good point about how good Oklahoma is at football, but it is not necessarily so good that every kid fits Oklahoma's scheme that they can offer a kid. So, like, for instance, one of the things that I want to point to, especially with Sevion Morrison, I don't think,
he might get an offer here. He's going
this is a kid that's going to go to junior day, and I'm talking about him at length because Tulsa kid, right? I've got a vested interest in every Tulsa area kid because that's basically my hometown. But the thing that I want to point people to is, do you remember how pissed you were that Josh Jacobs didn't get an offer until too late? That ain't gonna happen with this kid. All right?
No, they're either gonna offer him here or I wouldn't bet on him.
And he's bigger and longer at the same age that Jacobs was. All right?
Yeah.
So everybody can calm down because Jacobs won. He's gone to the NFL. He's only gonna beat you up that one time. Although Robert Barnes is never gonna forget that. My point here is Sevion is also blowing up in that he's got to go somewhere. Even in the last 24 hours, we're talking about offers from Washington, Utah. I think I missed somebody in there as well.
Well, he's got a bunch. He's got 10 offers right now total. So, the kid is blowing up, and I think that he fits the perfect scenario of why isn't Oklahoma offering this guy? He's from Oklahoma, and he's got double-digit offers. Well, you know what? Oklahoma may not be looking for what he does in particular, but they do know who he is because they have invited him for Elite Junior Day, and his list is pretty freaking nice.
And just to stir the pot further, and to hedge people on Sevion getting an offer on Saturday, you can show up later in the comments or on the board to tell me what you think about this. But this is the deepest running back class in recent memory. Yeah, and Oklahoma has an opportunity to get almost everybody. Like, low-key, that's a reason. Like, B can't really speak to this, but I will. Jalen Knighton decommitted because it was getting kind of thick. Because you got Kendall Milton over here. You got Jase McClellan over there.
Oklahoma wasn't totally disappointed. I'll say that.
Well, you got what's Zach's last name? Zach. It's not Evans.
No, Zach Evans?
Yeah, oh, it is Evans. Okay.
Yeah.
You got him over there, and all these kids are giving Oklahoma a hard look. And again, it's a very Seth McGowan, right, out of Buford.
God, he's a stud.
I don't think he has an offer yet, though, does he?
No, he does. Yeah, he does.
Okay,
all
right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oklahoma wants him pretty bad.
it's not only, like, normally Oklahoma does not have an opportunity getting running backs. Like I had said earlier, when Isaiah Spiller decommitted way back when, I was like, I ain't worried about the running back situation. I will never worry about the running back situation at Oklahoma because it's Oklahoma. It's kind of like quarterbacks. Just not going to worry about it. We're going to get who we need to get. But with this class, where the pickings are so bountiful, I would not. I want Sevion to get an offer because, again, I'm a Tulsa dude. But it would not make me wince or snap my head around to find out that that's a dude that just doesn't get into the boat because this class is just loaded with tailbacks.
I mean, they've already got Jase McClellan, who is the ranked number 5 or 6 player in the 20.
Right, and he's starting to get pushed
overall, not just running back. He's like number 1 or 2 running back in the country. So Oklahoma already has their dude. They're just looking for somebody to be, kind of another dude, kind of, I guess.
Well, I mean, that was kind of the thing.
He fits that though. He fits that.
If I was Jalen, wanted to be here, I would make them push me out. Because if you came in with Jase, you're gonna get carries, right? You're gonna get carries. But
you'll be out there with him. You'll be in the slot, and they'll just throw you a little quick screen over there in a 3 stack formation.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Just use him as a decoy, and you'll be running down the seam next thing you know.
That's the thing, right? But even so, like you were just talking about Jase, he's ranked 17th nationally. He's gonna move up the board. He had a really great showing at the opening where he was one of a few 2020 invites. I mean,
for the final.
I mean, this dude, I saw this dude make 2 linebackers miss. Like, it's a drill where 2 linebackers are lined up against 1 running back, and he made both of them miss. All right, and to look at him is to see a college football player's body. He's ready made. Like the knock on him is going to be his height. But how tall do you have to be a running back? I'm not sure. I'm sure y'all be able to tell me.
He's 5'9", right? He's probably
he's listed at 5'10".
Right? Yeah, he's
5'10", 201.
Yeah. His thighs are like freaking tree trunks.
Oh yeah. I mean, and same thing with the arms. Dude's built out. I mean, we can go on talking about this, but my point here is, if you can get Kendall Milton, you can get Zach Evans to add to that class, you're gonna do it.
Kendall Milton remind people of Joe Mixon.
Right, and that's why I'm saying, it's more than likely that Sevion is going to get an offer from Oklahoma at his junior day. But I think OU is going to be really looking hard at these other top running backs if they can get them, because why wouldn't you? You know?
I don't know that he'll get it. Like, I don't want to.
Like, we're still talking about just two for the 2020 class, right?
Yeah.
I'm not overthinking
that. I don't know that Sevion will get it just yet, but I think this is Oklahoma basically saying, look, we know who you are. We're inviting you to an elite junior day. That's an invite only. A select few get to come to these junior days. There's 2 of them. There's one in February as well, February 23rd. And the list for both of these, if you see the list that's up on our board at ouinsider.com on the VIP board, man, it is like who's who of the high school ranks, and they're not playing around. So if they've invited you, they think pretty highly of you. They invited yesterday. And I talked to Ethan Downs' father, and he had called Oklahoma to talk to them, because obviously Oklahoma can't call them because he's 2021. And he tells me Oklahoma just kind of explained to him, look, you kind of got lost in the shuffle of the move of the 2 staffs. But we want you to come down to the junior day. So they're going to come down. They're well aware of who he is. Lincoln Riley follows him on Twitter. I mean, this is a kid that everybody in the country is going to offer. If you have seen any of the videos of his Army All-American, or what, it's not Army, crap, the Adidas All-American, or whatever he's called, American Family Insurance All-American Combine. If you saw what he did to the 4- and 5-star 2020 and 2021 offensive linemen, I mean, he won defense. He was a defensive player of the combine for a reason. I mean, the dude is a beast.
Well, I mean, okay, so like B's been bullish on Ethan Downs since he saw Ethan Downs, and he absolutely thinks the dude.
Did that for like a year now, a year and a half. Yeah,
right.
I love the kid,
and that's what But I also just.
I'm biased because I know his family though too, because I've known him. Because his dad's people. This is really stupid of me to say this, but like, because it doesn't matter to the story. But his dad's boss was who I interned under at Southwestern back in the day. So
how much coffee did you get?
A lot.
Okay. How many copies did you make?
A lot. Yeah, public relations office. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But Downs already has an offer from Nebraska, Oklahoma State, Baylor. It's a matter of time. With his size,
Georgia is close.
He's already 6'4", 220 plus. You know, I mean, yes, Georgia's gonna come sniffing. Bama's gonna come sniffing. He's gonna be a big get in that 2021 class. Just start paying attention. I would not be surprised to find out that this dude comes in as the number 1 recruit in the state. Like he'll be the prize out of Weatherford.
Right,
so it's not just that B feels a special attachment. It's that the dude can absolutely play some ball. But pivoting to the 2020 class, just thinking out loud here. I'm looking at the running back situation. I'm looking at the corner. I'm looking at the safeties. Defensive tackle is still going to be a source of angst, I think, for fans. Because if I'm handicapping it, number 1 player in the class, Brian Breeze, you got some work to do if you're going to get that kid. When I talked to him, he wasn't even really thinking out loud about OU. I mean, he was thinking all Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State. He's a Big Ten kid.
He dropped the top 6. Oklahoma wasn't on that, but when I asked him about that, he said, "No, I mean, I'm going to visit other people because those are the top 6 of who he's gotten to visit so far. He was supposed to visit Oklahoma, and his sister had to move up.
He's never gotten up here though. Like that was the thing. We talked to him in July.
Penn State or some bull crap. Like I don't know if it's legit or whatnot. But even I talked to him. He was at the San Antonio, and he and I talked for about a good 10 minutes. And he's like, "Man, look, I talk to Riley every week. I talk to Thibodeau every other week. Like these guys are on me. I like it. I want to visit. It's just hard for my schedule to make it out there. And that when you're that distance away from the number 1 player in the country or the number 1 defensive tackle in the country, it's hard to make that happen unless things work out. And they've got to work into your favor. And 99% of the time, they don't. You have to find somebody regionally that is close to that ilk to make it work, and that doesn't happen always either. So, I mean, OU has definitely an uphill battle with him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what I'm getting at, right? Like, so, I know that, oh man, I'm blanking on this kid's name. Defensive end, 2020, 2020. Vernon
Broughton.
Thank you.
He'll be here this weekend.
That's right. That's what, man, I know. Why did I blank on Vernon's last name? Point is, I should just look it up because I'm in front of my computer. I like Vernon Broughton's film. I'm not so sure about that. What I'm saying is that's a regional guy that you can go pull. He's close enough to home.
He's big, man.
Right? He's close enough to home that you can go get that guy. So what I'm saying, but he also plays in, and that's the other thing. Would you move him inside?
His
maybe.
Frame, if you look at his frame, you can tell he can move inside. He's going to be able to.
Is he? But again, it's that cornerback conversation.
Big,
will he? That's what I'm saying.
Well, he may not have a choice because his body may just put on the weight regardless. Like it's going to be one of those.
Didn't we say that about Robert Barnes though, playing linebacker?
I mean, yeah, but Robert is kind of big. He still looks like a linebacker.
Robert's enormous. Robert's enormous. Like I really want that kid to be great.
Yeah, he honestly looks like a sandbacker, to be honest with you.
God, I wanted him to be great. I wanted him to play backer, and I wanted Kelly to play safety, which probably means I wanted my depth chart to look like Ryan Jones, Caleb Kelly, and Robert Barnes at the Sam, or at whatever it is they're calling strong safety now because I'm confused. Like, that's the other thing that I really want to get pinned down about this defense. I want to know what the scheme is.
It's the same as a...
No. I know. Like, I know what it's supposed to be, right?
What the lineup's supposed to look like.
Right, yeah. But what I'm saying is, what we saw was Mike would say what it was going to be, and it would kind of look like that, and then it would look like something else. And then it would kind of look like that, and then it would look like another version of something else. I want it to be the same thing, right? Because then you'll know what they recruit to. You'll know what the kids are supposed to do, and you won't have children standing up there with their hands in the air looking at the sideline as the ball's getting snapped.
Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna. I think that's where it will be different. And I do. I think that they know what they want to do. They have a lot. They have everything lined up, organized the way they want it done, and that's how they're going to recruit. They're going to recruit for that position this way. Like the cornerbacks are going to be 5'10" to 6', 6'1". That's what they want. The safeties are going to be 5'11" to 6'1", 6'2". That's what they want. I mean, that's the type of dudes that they're trying to go after, and that's what they're going to recruit for. The linebackers are going to be, and I got told by sources they're not. Here's exactly what I was told by one source. If you had to even think about if they're fast or athletic, they can't play at Oklahoma now.
Well, then you're
That's
talking
exactly what they're. I'm like, whoa,
bro. I got you. Like, I understand what that quote means. I understand the sourced information. I also go, yo, man, I'm looking at 247. I'm looking at huddle film, and you just knocked off 20 dudes from right away, and you might even be able to get into the top 20 before you can say, hey, all of these dudes could play at Oklahoma. All of those dudes ain't, man. They're going to go to Clemson. They're going to go to Bama. They're going to go to Georgia. They're going to go to LSU. They're going to go to Ohio State. You're going to be stuck with something else. And that's something
so
that
you don't think Oklahoma can get in on any of these guys?
No. What I'm saying is they'll be in. They'll definitely be in.
You don't think they'll land any of these guys that they're looking for? Because I think, and this is what I think when they say that, I don't think that they're saying they have to be the top guys. Like, you could get a 3-star that fits what they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah,
and
so
that was where I was headed with this. Is you're going to have to be really, really great at talent evaluation.
Yeah, that's kind of what was posted.
So, like, when you're saying if you have to think about it, I'm going, yeah, you got to think about it if it's a 3-star dude, because as much as people want to poo-poo the rankings and the stars, we're not giving those things out willy-nilly. You know, like, if you see a dude with 5 stars, that's because we expect that dude to be first-round draft pick. That's why there are only so many of them. So what you're doing is you're looking at rankings and you're looking at ratings, and you're giving yourself a baseline of, okay, what can I know? And then you're looking at film and you're going, okay, what can I know? And then you're going to watch the kid live and you're going, all right, this is what I know. And then you go and you match that up with whatever it is you already have or whatever it is you think you need.
Right.
So, like, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is if I'm trying to make the long form point here of you got to draw context into that quote, folks. Not B. Y'all got to draw context into that. That does not mean that the top 20 are the only ones in play. It does mean that Roy Manning, Alex Grinch, Brian Odom, Calvin Thibodeau, and Ruffin McNeil are all going to have to be extremely good at talent evaluation. And I say that because that's always been Texas's Achilles heel. Because the University of Texas Longhorns will always be able to pull a kid in the state of Texas, which is one of the most talent-rich states in all of America, right? The problem with that is if you are not sure that the kid that you picked fit your scheme and you get beat by stars because, let's say, you go get Gerard Hurd, who, by the way, was a Texas high school quarterback legend like you read about, and then that dude he's not able to produce a wide receiver. Well, you missed because we all thought that Gerard should be playing quarterback anyway. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that as much as the stars matter, they matter if the scheme fits the kid, right? So, like, defensive tackle is where I was going to go with this next because, you know, I'm looking at the top 5 guys, and Bernard Wright would be the only dude for which right now.
Oklahoma's in a really good spot with that kid.
Right, that's the only dude that I would even of the top 5, top 10 even that I would even mention to say in the same breath as Oklahoma. But that dude also is able to fit into the kind of scheme that you might want to run. Whereas, you know, you look at McKinley Jackson at 6'2", 324, maybe not so much.
No, that's why.
Or Jason Jones, who's 6'7", 340, not so much. Like isn't that the only 2-gap nose tackle in this class? Yeah. Anyway, you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah, no, and I wanted to touch on the Texas, you know, the talent. Oklahoma's in a good spot, okay, and they're in a good spot because, look, they're they're in a state that produces a good amount of talent. I mean, it's not the greatest amount, but Oklahoma produces enough, that
It ain't
other
Iowa.
yeah, that's why. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they produce, when you produce 60, 70, 80 Division One kids in a year, or 60 kids on average. Like, you're in a state that isn't dry of talent, so you've got a good baseline start right there, and then you got obviously Texas around you. Then basically the Wichita and most of Kansas is your territory as well, regardless of Kansas State and Kansas and Nebraska being around there, because most of Kansas is Oklahoma football fans and Kansas Jayhawk basketball fans. And then you've got Missouri, St. Louis area. That's a territory that you're predominant in. So, and you dip down in Louisiana quite a bit throughout the years. So Oklahoma is in a really good spot. And then obviously you have the state connections of Oklahoma and California because of the Grapes of Wrath and
Right.
all that other stuff. So there is a lot of things that work in Oklahoma's favor that you don't really, people don't really look at. They're like, oh, well, how are they so good all the time? Well, dude, because there's so much talent that they can pick from, not only just in their state, but in Texas, and Kansas is basically their own state as well as Oklahoma, when it comes to football. So, I mean, that is exactly why Oklahoma's continually stayed good. And if things line up properly for them, Oklahoma usually doesn't have to leave the region outside of going to California to get one or two or three guys, and maybe going to Florida to get one or two, and Georgia to one or two. Other than that, they stay in the region. They stay in the region because it's loaded. The region is loaded with talent. So Oklahoma will always and forever be lucky when it comes to recruiting. They won't be Texas, because Texas, like you said, can pick and choose what they want, but they will be like A&M, except for Oklahoma has, for some odd reason, culturally, when it comes to football, their guys pan out a little bit better than A&M's, and that's why Oklahoma has a better overall program than A&M, because I don't know what it is, but when kids go to A&M outside of like Jay Sternberger and a couple of others, they kind of flake out. I don't understand why.
I don't know that they flake out. I think.
Well, you understand what I'm saying. They don't live up to their hype.
Now, I don't necessarily. I think it's scheme fit. Like, that's where I was going with that. Is I think, like, for instance, you talking about Sternberger. Do you think he's a wide receiver or a tight end?
I think he's a tight end.
Okay. Do you think they use him like a tight end?
Yeah, he's had his hand in the ground most of the year.
So why didn't he get considered for tight end awards?
He did. Did he not? No, he finished. He didn't. He made the semifinals and didn't make the finals.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
so we had a Hollywood Brown situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
I back up off of that. But I was also thinking about kid out of Norman, plays tight end at Iowa State. He's working out. Kohler.
Yeah.
Charlie
yeah.
Kohler.
Charlie Kohler, and then obviously the other one, what's his face's kid from Norman.
Norman.
He's a superstar for the 49ers now. He's one of the best tight ends in the league.
Oh yeah.
Kittle.
George Kittle.
Yeah.
Ended up at Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how Oklahoma didn't get him, because his dad was coaching whenever he left.
Hey, we decided that he didn't fit our scheme.
Good call.
Right.
Good call.
No, Jeremy Shockey doesn't fit our scheme.
Yeah, good call.
God. I could go a litany of places that didn't get OU. So. Like, if we should just do a podcast about kids or pros that didn't get OU offers, like just to incite a riot.
Wes Welker is number one on that board by far.
Hey, too short, right?
Barry Sanders was the other one.
Barry Sanders was never coming to Oklahoma. You know that.
He was. His dad was a diehard OU fan.
He was never coming to Oklahoma.
He didn't get an offer.
I know the story about Dad and Dad wanting to meet I think it's Switzer in the locker room, and that being a big deal. But the more I investigate that, and the more I talk to folks, granted at Oklahoma State, the more I'm like, he was never coming to OU.
Well, okay, so no, because he never got an offer from Oklahoma.
No, like if he got an offer.
Oh, now.
If he got an offer, it would have been
has OU's memorabilia all over his house
What
when they do the interviews.
what I was told, and I think folks will appreciate this, was it would have been a flat tire situation.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Okay,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Things would have happened that weren't. What am I trying to say? That weren't above. They weren't within regs, is what you're saying.
let me see, 101, 102, 103.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Huh?
Within regs? Is that what you're saying?
I just, I was just kind of.
Throwing that out there.
Look. You're right to say.
Was going to make sure it didn't happen. Is basically what you're saying.
You're right to say. Hart was at OU. You're right to say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there. You're right to say his heart was at OU.
Oh, you talking about Hart Lee Dykes?
Oh, see.
Like it matters. That was they've already been put on probation.
We're gonna get in so much trouble.
They've already been put on probation for it. Oklahoma was in the middle of that too.
All right.
Those handshakes were legal back then. What are you talking about?
Oh my god. Yo, as he go pick up his wallet, he dropped it. You should just try to go to return that to him, dog.
No, they can put it in my pocket.
No, what money? That's yours. Nah, thank you for being a good Samaritan. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Good looking out. Oh my god. Where was I gonna go with this next? Oh, real quick. Let's touch on Brew McCoy to Texas because it's Texas.
That's a weird deal, man.
Well, it's also fascinating. Because
I thought you had to wait a year before you can leave.
No, they released him.
Was that not a rule?
They released him. They released him.
That's a PR stunt to keep modern day guys happy.
It had to be one, but also, I think we both would have support reporting to support this, but they weren't happy with the whole Cliff situation, and then you still haven't named an offensive coordinator, and this is a kid who was looking to play right now.
Yeah.
Right now, and was best buddies with JT. And all of a sudden, you don't know what the offense is. You don't know what you're going to be asked to do. You don't feel good about what y'all are going to be able to do as a team. And all of a sudden, you become the laughingstock of college football as a blue blood. Nah, get me out of here. And that's what happened. And what are you going to say if you're Clay? If you're Clay Helton? No.
It's a crap show.
Wait on me. No, I want out now. I'm going to get an attorney involved. And then you got an attorney involved. And now you got an attorney involved in trying to keep your 5-star who doesn't want to be a 5-star anymore, who would transfer anyway, right? Because let's say he played through the season. He's still pissed. He's still mad. That doesn't change. And now all of a sudden you got Brew McCoy at Texas where I think he still has to sit out the year.
Yeah, you would think so, unless the NCAA comes in and gives him a waiver.
No, because
I'm sure they're going to go for it. I'm sure they're going to go for that waiver.
No, I think in releasing him, he basically gives up the year. Yeah. Which would make sense to me because, L.J. Humphrey declared early, but Colin Johnson, Devin Duvernay, and I'm missing one dude. I think Gerard is still there. I think Hurd is still there.
Dang, man, that's so crazy he's going to be at Texas. Holy crap.
Well, that made more sense to me than USC, honestly.
I know
that Brew has been a USC commit since he was in diapers, but when you're talking about putting wide receivers and safeties into the league, Texas is really good at that. Defensive backs and wide receivers. Yeah.
What is the last good wide receiver Texas has produced?
You mean after L.J. Humphrey?
Yeah, he has yet to do anything. What is the last good wide receiver?
Okay. Let's see. Last good.
Or defensive back, as a matter of fact, that has done.
So I can. Shipley was good, despite what anybody wants to say.
Okay, in the last decade, who have they produced?
Last decade, wide receiver. You're going to have to talk while I think about this.
Yeah, well, I'm going to help you, and no one.
That's not true.
I mean, when you start, you're throwing you threw that out there. The reason why I say that is because you threw it out there like they were Clemson, Alabama, Oklahoma, USC.
No, they're not
like
Oklahoma, and they're certainly not USC. But they also have been able to put.
No, that's what I envision when you say they produce.
Well, let me. Okay, then let me back up and say that Texas, despite what Garrett Wilson says, has put dudes into the league.
Yeah, they have. It's just been a long time since they've done it, and I think what he was saying when he said that was, what have these guys produced? Well, that still was a bad thing because the guy that was recruiting him at Texas produced Michael Thomas and all those other dudes out of Ohio State that are really good receivers in the NFL right now.
What year did Quan Cosby come out?
Oh my goodness, that was like 2002, 2001.
Can't be.
Quan
got to be around 2010. I mean, I'm not saying that it was like an 11.
Quan?
Let me find out that Quan Cosby's like 2010.
No, there's another Cosby. I thought that was it. That you're thinking of the cornerback?
No, thinking of wideout.
No, cornerback 2010.
Let me see. Quan Cosby.
Corner was 2010.
Wideout.
Yeah,
but that ain't no great win or anything. Still, it's 2010, but he played wideout.
Yeah, no, I know he played, but that was like back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
No, it wasn't. It was 2008.
Is that when? Oh, yeah, that's right, because he torched Oklahoma in
right.
35-31.
That's
right.
That's really what I was racking my brain for. No, what I'm racking my brain for is wide receivers from Texas that torched Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think of Jordan Shipley every time somebody says that.
Well, I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
How could you not? Like between him and Roy Williams, you got a really hard time. So I come up off of that. Roy Williams
he struggled against Oklahoma like bad.
But is anybody really gonna say that Roy Williams wasn't
no, he was a superstar. Oh, he's amazing.
Okay, all right.
Against Oklahoma,
okay,
he was
all right.
Going forward. Because I remember that was a big deal.
The original bad take was that Texas produces NFL wide receivers.
They did for a while. They did
right.
Wide receivers.
And despite what Roy Williams did against OU. Great wide receiver out of Texas. Then you go through this machination of your brain and be like, okay, who is the last wide receiver to torch Oklahoma, right? And outside of Colin Johnson and L.J. Humphrey, you got to go ways. You got to go away.
Yeah.
I remember I keep bringing up Gerard because I had great hope for him playing wideout.
I mean, you should. He was a great athlete, good speed, good hands, but he just never could figure it out.
And then I was like, all right, why don't y'all put Gerard back quarterback and make Swoops play tight end?
Pretty much, yeah.
Just making everybody mad.
Swoops should have been a tight end the whole time. He would have been in the NFL right now.
No, we running the 18-wheeler. No, like hell.
Hell. We're sitting here talking about Texas, by the way. Anyways, no. What I was gonna say something earlier.
It's Brew McCoy, and we're talking about Texas because it's Oklahoma. Like, I don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but Brew McCoy, he's got a way. What I was going to talk about was think about what this is going to do to Bryce Young. And I actually got a call from somebody today about that. So I just happened to miss that call from somebody around Bryce, and he texted me and told me he called me.
you better make a move, dog, because don't be on that ship. I'm not even talking about Oklahoma. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
at this point, why would anybody be committed to USC long term?
Yeah, it's so bad. Like, how can they sit there and keep
him? Or
how do you keep him on? Like, how do you go? You know what? Hell, you can stick around here for the. They need to fire him and go find somebody now and redo that whole thing.
They can't.
They have all spring and summer to do it.
They're tied to him, dog. Like they're
I know, because that's stupid buyout, right?
Yeah, well, more than that, you make a bad look worse, because check this out. If you'd have just fired Helton, and let's say you went and got Cliff Kingsbury, nobody would have crucified you. Instead, you kept Clay Helton, and then you told Cliff to get a demotion, and then you were surprised when he started looking at Arizona. And here's the other thing. If you lost Cliff Kingsbury to Arizona as USC's head coach, nobody's still mad at you, and you get to do a clean search, right? The move was to
Yeah.
fire him regardless. And now you got infighting in their board of trustees, and we won't make this a USC podcast, but everybody should know there was a want to get Clay out in December.
Oh, yeah.
And
It was,
Swanee put the lid on it, and Swanee said, just make him fire all his assistants, because that works every single time. Make the dude fire all of his friends and say, you get to keep your job. Man.
worked with Bob Stoops, and that's about it whenever he let go.
Even
majority
he
of his
didn't
staff.
fire everybody.
No, but he fired a lot of them. But yeah, he didn't fire everybody.
You know, like that's
he got to keep some of his staff.
that's what I'm saying. Is you made him bring in a coordinator for a scheme he doesn't even run. And this is not Bob firing everybody
that
after
was a former head
what
coach
was it, 8
on
and
top
5?
of it.
Wasn't it? What season? What kind of season?
Yeah,
was
they
that?
were 8-5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making Bob fire everybody after 5 and 7, and then bringing in a different offensive coordinator is a totally different look. Totally different. You know, this is Lincoln firing half the defensive staff because they made the college football playoff and then got torched again.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not an apples to apples comparison. That's what I'm saying is Clay was said, if you want to keep your job, not only are you going to fire everybody, you're going to bring in this dude that runs a scheme that you don't know anything about. Because we want to give him your job when you screw this up this year. And now Clay has to actually be looking at everybody going, do you want me to save you or not? Because you're going to give me some sort of an extension, or you're going to raise my buyout because you just made me look like a donkey's rear end.
Yeah, now they're at a standstill, which is just not going to be a good look.
So, but as a recruit or as the parent of a recruit, I'm going, yo, we might need to get up out of here, which is what Brew McCoy did.
And that's why all of a sudden, basically committed Enoch Viamahi visits Oklahoma, and now all of a sudden you see Oklahoma way out in the front. Now he's at Ohio State right now, and I'm talking about 2019 4-star offensive lineman Enoch Viamahi from Kauhu, Hawaii.
That was Brandon that made that pronunciation, wasn't me.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. I tried.
That's nice.
Kauhu?
A for effort.
A for
I
effort.
think Alex Grinch would be really into your effort on that play.
Yeah, he would. I give 110% on that.
And then he would say, I need 94 more plays like that one.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep saying Kauhu.
There you go. There you go.
But so he's at Ohio State right now, and those are the two schools that he's going to end up at one of those, obviously, because I don't think you see him, and from everybody I've spoke to now, they're like, that kid is not going to end up at USC. Now, would it shock me if he still ends up at USC? No, because he's a kid from Hawaii, and he's Polynesian, and they most certainly all stay in the Pac-12 99% of the time if they don't go to Alabama or Miami or that's it. Those are the schools outside. And now Oklahoma's had their fair share as well, obviously, but Oklahoma is a rarity out of the West Coast schools, just like Alabama, Miami, and Clemson. Like, you don't see a lot of those kids that don't lead you know what I mean? They don't lead the Pac-12 that often. But Oklahoma has a chance, and they are the leader right now. He's basically told everybody that. And that is because of what's going down at USC. It is a crap show right now.
All right, well, I think crap show is a good place to end it. This is the Young and Drum podcast presented by OUinsider.com, where you should be a member if you aren't already. Especially
$8 a month. $8 a month.
Junior Day is coming up on Saturday, and you're going to want to know what happened there. And you know who's got it? We got it. So sign up, pay your $8 a month. $8 a month. Stop drinking so much Quick Trip coffee, Starbucks coffee, renting movies, whatever it is you do, because you're listening to this podcast, and this is your real narcotic, and we are here to serve you.
We will feed your addiction.
Hey, man.
Every day.
Just call me Tony Montana. Anyway, that's Brandon Drum. I'm RJ Young. We do this here thing once a week, and we will see you next week. Deuces.